Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. Cantu is on the other side. Late night podcast, 10:09
Yeah,
Central Time in Houston, Texas, on this lovely, terrific Thursday night of April 24th. How we feeling?
yeah, absolutely. I'm feeling good on watching the draft. Unfortunately, the Texans traded their pick right before they were going to choose, so and I didn't get to see that. But overall, good day. Cut the grass, but now we're ready to
You cut grass?
get
Hold
this.
up. You cut
Yeah, of
grass? What?
course. Yeah, my new thing now.
I thought at your house there's no grass though.
It's very little. It's like it took me like what less than 30 minutes.
10
That's how.
minutes.
Yeah,
Get that
but
exercise in. That's
absolutely. Yeah, but it was a good day. Ready to get the show on the road.
nice, man.
How about you?
I was about to say yesterday, Rockets won, tied the series against Golden State. Jalen Green looking like a stud
Exploded. Yeah.
after not performing in game one, I would say. In game two, got 38 points, almost 40 points. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, that was terrific. Of course, like you said, the Texans didn't get anything. This weekend's going to be really popping, of course, with the sports with A&M and Texas and that Lone Star Showdown. Of course, you got
Yeah.
game three of the Rockets and Warriors at San Francisco. So, yeah, a lot of sports coming in this weekend.
Absolutely. And then again, KC, the Astros, you know, over there too. So a lot of sports for Houston fans for sure.
Yes, it's exciting to be, I guess, an Astro fan and a Rockets fan right now. Texans, I don't know how you want to feel about that and getting, traded that pick to the Giants. I think if Matthew Golden was still on the board, they
That's their
wouldn't have
pick.
made that pick.
Yeah, that's their pick.
So it is what it is at this point, but nobody wants to talk about the Texans. You could check that out with Bring on the Blitz podcast on the R Skinner podcast network. But title of this episode, Astros went 5 of 6 games at home, episode 252. The Astros looked like a great team offensively, pitching, defensively, bullpen. Everything was connected, and they just lost one of those games, which game three of that San Diego series, it could have been a different story for them. But I mean, that's still good. 5 of 6 games at Daikin Park, going against a good, hot Toronto Blue Jays team, against a great team in the San Diego Padres. I mean, you got to be really impressed and encouraged and optimistic about this team after this homestand going against KC later.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a team that in the past, I think Astros fans are all too familiar. They struggled at home in a regular season playoff time. So I think if you're an Astros fan, it's always good to see them win at home. Take advantage of that home field advantage that they do have. Now, I'd say momentum's on their side, especially because Casey had to play a doubleheader today,
Yes,
on
very true.
Thursday because of a rainout. So if the Astros are in a good spot to, win another series, I think I saw that the Astros are what 13-11, if I'm not
Yes, they are
mistaken.
13-11. Let me give you the standings real quick. Updated standings. Texas Rangers are 14-10. The Mariners are 14-11. Wow, did not see that coming. Astros 13-11. Angels 11-12, and the Athletics are 11-13. And the Mariners are half a game. The Astros are 1 game back. Angels 2.5 games back, and the Athletics 3 games back.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they started 13-11 in 2021, 2022, and 2023. If I'm not mistaken, I
Correct.
think.
The Astros
Yeah,
were 7-16, I believe,
last year.
in 2024. So
Yeah.
it's looked really good so far this season. Of course, that trend, it's funny. Who would have thought the records would be similar in every year besides 24?
And ALC, ALCS in each of those years too. So I mean, there's no. I I know most games haven't been pretty for the Astros, but they haven't been able to pull out some close victories. I think that was the issue last year,
Mhm.
where when it was a close game, the Astros didn't have the firepower to close them out. And this year, you show it's just been a mixture of everything. Like if it's not hitting, it's the pitching. If it's not pitching, it's the hitting. So it's just like uh, I think the Astros have done a really good job to win those tight games because as you can see, as you saw last year, yes, they won a division by a hair, but these games in the beginning of the season matter because if you can pull out these close wins, that can go, a lot better for you at the end of this road.
Yeah, starting pitching has looked phenomenal. Base running is another key one I think a lot of people are not looking at because I mean, Jerry Pena, for instance, that's a prime example right now of the way he's taking an extra 90 feet. I'm not
Let's think down the line too.
missing, yeah, not purposely missing Perez Chica's stop sign, but knowing that a big hit can go a long way. And if they don't get that big hit, then I mean, he took that 90 feet, and sure enough, he's been 2 for 2 on that. And like I said, base running has been really impressive from third, second to home. I mean, they've been really aggressive. Philosophy that Perez Chica brought from there has looked good so far.
No, yeah, absolutely. I really like how in this Padres game, off Manny Machado, a little swinging bunt, you know, Jeremy Pena guy was able to be on base and that. So good to see hustling down the first baseline and kind of steal some hits, and those paid off. I think two of those scored.
Yeah, not to mention too, Jeremy Pena in this series had an infield single that Jose Altuve from their home beat it out. If you remember that
Hmm.
one.
Absolutely.
But defensively too, the infield defense has looked really tremendous. Isa Perez making a great play at the base, get a double play going. Jeremy Pena going out for a fly ball, literally to the outfield. I don't know if you saw
Oh
that. A
yeah,
lot of range grabbing that ball. I mean, it's looked
yeah.
defense has looked tremendously well in the infield so far.
Jeremy Pena has looked great defensively with those jump throws, and the play you're talking about. That was a tough. It was the greater difficulty, especially when Jeremy Pena had to kind of avoid Cam Smith and then juggle it in his glove. So defense for Jeremy Pena has like very exceptional.
Yeah, and then speaking of Cam Smith, doing a really great job in right field. Um, has a lot of range, has the arm. He's looking like he's improving every single day. There's even been thoughts, if I'm not mistaken, from Chandler Rome's article on the Athletic, that the Astros might be looking into maybe giving him some games at center field. I mean, the kid has electric speed. He has some good range so far. Has a good arm. So I mean, I wouldn't want, why not test the waters out there in center just to see, give him a look, just in case Jake Myers needs a day off.
Yeah, for any Astros fan who are like they can cast mess and I feel about Jake Myers, he's been on fire. It's just obviously Jake Myers needs a break every now and days. So it's just to give him a little breather. But yeah, I mean honestly, Cass Smith has looked like he's been playing right field his entire career. Like he's like just the athleticism that he shows. There was a play that it was closer to the wall. He just kind of reached out to by that net and scooped it up from going to the foul territory, and he's just doing a really good job of covering ground, good reads, and when he does. And when he doesn't get a good read, his athleticism and speed just kind of makes up for it too. So he's done a phenomenal job.
Yes, he has. Before we get the show started, just I wanted to piggyback on that, talk about the standings and where the Astros are in the AL West. And think about this. I mean, their offense hasn't fully clicked yet. It just hasn't yet. Christian Walker had a really good series after getting that day off on game one. Zach DeSanto swinging a good bat. Jose Altuve is Jose Altuve. Jeremy Pena in the fourth spot doesn't look bad at all. Jordan Alvarez hasn't got that Alvarez that Astro fans know. Isaac Paredes is swinging a good bat. Yainer Diaz has yet to click as well. 8 and 9 with Jake Myers and Cam Smith, the way they've been hitting in that bottom part of the order. Like I said, this offense hasn't yet clicked, and look where they're at right now. So
Yeah.
if you're an Astros fan, you got to be encouraged what you're seeing right now, and as an offense standpoint. So
Yeah,
they've done a
absolutely,
really good job.
absolutely. I agree with you there.
Before we started, get the recap that series against the Blue Jays, Astros injury updates. We'll preview that KC series, and that is Angel. Before we get started, let everybody know where they can follow us and find us social and all that good stuff.
Of course, if you look on top of my if you look on top of my head, you can follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. TikTok, X, and YouTube as at Full Steam Ahead. Instagram, FSA at Full Steam Ahead. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. But yeah, tune in. If you can't catch us live, always we can always tune in on the world, like on the road at work, just when you're cutting the grass or something. You can tune us in there.
Yes, just like he said, cutting the grass. More content coming in. Of course, the next homestand they will be playing the Cincinnati Reds. So we'll hope to get a little bit more interviews with some of these players, coaches, Shout out to Omar Lopez before we get the show started.
Mhm.
Managing Team Venezuela for the second straight WBC. I think that was a good choice for Venezuela, especially the way that they played last time, beating Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic in their pool play.
Yeah, absolutely. Really great coach. I think might be a future manager in a few years.
Most definitely, but the Astros have their first sweep of the season. Of course, there was that trend of WL wins loss, and the Astros have now won 5 of their last 6 home games at Daikin Park. Like I said, finished the homestand as well there, so they look to carry that momentum to Kansas City to play the Royals, which as of right now too, the Royals haven't been playing great baseball. Salvador Perez did have a good game in today's series against the Colorado Rockies, but they've been averaging, I want to say, about 3 to 4 runs, just like the Astros. So of course, they're going to be trying to figure a way out how to get back and bounce back with their offense. Because when you got a MVP caliber player in Bobby Witt Jr., anything is possible for that team. And of course, you've seen them in the postseason last year, and they were close to being the Yankees in the DS. And it's going to be a great series against the KC Royals. But game one, we won't talk about a lot because we did cover that game in our last podcast. But just in case you missed it, Hunter Brown pitched a really good outing. They did win that game 7-0. Altuve, Alvarez, Paredes had a combined of 4 RBIs. Bottom of the order, Smith 1 for 3, Roger 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Zach DeZenzo 2 for 3 with a double and an RBI. Just a great overall game for pitching, bullpen. Well, because Forrest Willie did get 2 innings of that game, which was good to see him back in the Astros bullpen. And of course, Hunter Brown, my gosh. I mean, I can't say nothing about him. I think what I've been really preaching for the Astros, what they would need to do as of right now is look into a contract extension ASAP, because you want to lock a guy like this down. And like I mentioned, I think this guy is honestly the future of this staff. He is the ace of this staff, because I'm not sure if Framber Valdez is going to sign a contract extension with the Astros after this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Hunter Brown has been nailed all season and clearly has been the best pitcher for the Astros this season.
Yep, 24 scoreless streak of innings that he's been pitching. Really good for him. Going to game two, though, 5-1. And when we talked about in our last podcast, can Ronel Blanco bounce back? Because he has been struggling in each of those starts. And this game against the Toronto Blue Jays, I don't know if it's just the Blue Jays in general, because you remember last time
No hitter.
Blanco had pitched against the Blue Jays at Minute Maid Park at the time. It was a no hitter, like you said, Angel. So I don't know if it's just the Blue Jays in general, like I mentioned before, but Ronel Blanco looked outstanding on the mound. It was a well bounced back performance for him. 6 2/3, 2 hits, giving up a run, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. That's the most innings he's pitched in the game this season. 93 pitches, 58 of them were strikes. A quality start in the book, 12 swing and misses. And I will say he has really pitched well at Daikin Park this year. I mean, his first start on the mound in the 2025 season, 3 earned runs against San Francisco, 2 earned runs against the LA Angels, and 1 earned run against the Toronto Blue Jays. So he's looked really well. But Angel, in this outing, what can you say? What worked for him more than the game that he had pitched previously?
Well, before I go into that, this was an important start for Ronald Blanco, just as we talked about last McCullers is close to being back. Ryan Goose was pitching pretty good. I know during that long 17 game stretch, they might go to 6 man rotation, but we kind of talked about how Ronald Blanco can't find it. He might be a candidate for the bullpen, especially after that stretch. But uh, really good confidence boost for Ronald Blanco. I think what worked for him is he kind of mixing his pitches a little bit more. Remember last time, remind me how many changeups did he threw? Like what it was? I know it was single digits in his last outing.
It was like maybe 9 or 8.
Yeah, something like that, right? Well, this time he threw 34 fastballs, 16 curveballs, 16 changeups, and 27 sliders. So kind of a better mix of pitches there.
Mhm.
Kind of calling them, at the right time. Another thing is his location of the fastball. In this previous few starts, when he's been kind of finding himself into trouble, it's because he can't find his ball with the fastball. A lot better job of hitting that um, high inside and outside corners. So that's his bread and butter right there. He's trying to throw you off with that changeup. So what's he gonna need? That high elevated fastball for strikes. And once he can get that down, it makes the changeup and that curveball even more deceitful to the hitters. And that's exactly what happened. But if I'm sure it was if it was up to Reno Blanco, I think he would want to face the Blue Jays every 5 days because, like you said, I guess it brings the best out of him because no hitter. And then this, what, it was a two
Yeah.
hit 6.2 innings pitch, yeah. And then another thing, two walks.
Yep,
He's been
that's
three walks or higher, um, almost every outing. I think since the beginning of the season. So being able to limit the damage, limit traffic on the base path, I think it was an excellent performance for Reno Blanco.
yeah, you hit the nail on the coffin right there. I think in his this start specifically, it needed to be the walks. If you can, lower the walk rate, you're in good standings. And right now, I was curious to see how many walks he had done when he's pitched really well. So the Giants, he only gave up 3 walks, gave up 3 hits. Against the Angels, he only gave up 1 walk, and of course against the Blue Jays, I think he had a walk in that 7th inning to make it 2 walks. But like, look right here at Minnesota, 3 walks. At St. Louis, 3 walks. So for him, it has to be 3 walks or lower. And
Yeah.
what he did against the Toronto Blue Jays, that was a big, big thing for him, and that's why you didn't see his pitch go up. You saw him being able to go more than 5 innings and not give up any free bases.
Yeah. And by him being, like I said earlier, by him being able to locate that fastball, it just kind of opens up that curveball and that changeup a little bit more, and that's exactly what happened. I think he got a little bit more chases, swings and misses, like you said, 12 swing and misses, and there's been consecutive outings before this one where like the hitters weren't swinging and missing just because he wasn't making his pitches off to some deceitful enough. This time he did that.
Yes, he did. So it's going to continuously be a conversation of each of his starts. I would even say Gusto, which will have his stat line here in a second, to see if which player, what not even player, which pitcher falls off the wagon when Lance McCullers Jr. comes back, when Spencer Arrighetti comes back. Who's going to be the odd man out to either go the bullpen or even, be sent down to the minors? As of right now, both of these guys are stepping up to this challenge because they know they don't have Spencer Arrighetti. They know they have Lance McCullers Jr. like looming away, coming soon. But you're still out of 3 starters as of right now. But with McCullers, it's 4 starters. So they're doing their job. They've done a really good job. In the series, we'll have a little bit more stats come in our overall thoughts. But offensively, too, like we had mentioned in the beginning, Jerry Pena with the infield RBI single, that speed has helped him, even though he doesn't show the power a lot. I mean, the speed is there, and that's what he's going to do if he puts the ball in play, especially in the infield. Christian Walker with the RBI single up the middle. Hits the second base back. I don't know if you saw that bounce off of that. Brendan Rodgers RBI sac fly. Yainer Diaz RBI double down the left field line, and Isaac Paredes and the Crawford boxes. Just continues to be a match made in heaven for both these guys.
Yeah,
Well, even
I
not even
think
guys, but Paredes in the box.
yeah, I think Christian Walker might be in that fifth spot a lot longer than expected because since that move, I think as a guy, Christian Walker, he's a guy that cares about you know baseball, and he's a guy that wants to help the team at any case. And I think a reality check might have hit in moving him in the fifth spot. It's like basically saying that he needs to play better, and he's shown just that. I think he went to for a stretch over 2 games where he was 5 for 5, just went 3 for 3 one game, and then started off the other game 2 for 2. So he's looked really better at bats. Uh, it's trying to click for him. And then when Yanni Diaz too, I think he's still yes, his chase rate probably still high, but making a lot better contact. Something that's been working is him taking the ball the other way. I think that's his. I think that's what he needs to do. Like a guy that's always going to be swinging at pitches. If he can track the ball a little bit deeper, you know, tell kind of get a better view if it's a ball or a strike. I think that's going to help him go wonders, taking the ball the other way. That's how it
Yeah, Christian Walker before hitting in that 5 spot, he's only had 19 games in the 5th spot throughout his whole career before getting that changed. And honestly, I think if he just continues to click and it just all works out, I think he's going to go back to that 4th spot
yeah.
regardless. Um, it's working as of right now. just to get that confidence going, just to see a little bit more pitches, and of course track him. But I think if he continues hitting the way he did in this series, I believe more than anything he's going to go back to that four spot. Same goes for Yonder Diaz. If he could fix it too, he's probably going to go back in that fifth spot. But as of right now, for both these guys, it was a really good series for both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think if that can continues, then like you said, the offense hasn't clicked all year, and it just takes a few games, a good few at bats to kind of change that around. And getting Christian Walker and Yanni Diaz on the heat, I think that's always really good for the Astros. Honestly.
You did hear this at Dyken Park. Now I will say this: Isak Paredes, 4 home runs, has looked. I would say, in my opinion, he's looked really good in a Nationals uniform. And it's way too early in the season, but he's looked really good offensively and defensively. In my opinion, this is a guy that the Astros could look into possibly giving an extension during or after this season. Do you agree, or do you maybe disagree on the thoughts of possibly giving him an extension? Like I mentioned, he's 26 years old as well. He has a lot of potential. Defensively, he's looked really good at third base. Share your thoughts.
No, yeah, I agree. I think you know Isaac Perez and Dyken Park and the Astros, I guess, are go hand in hand. I think Isaac Perez, like the Astros, can benefit from his hitting, from his defense. I mean, he's played a phenomenal third base. I know a lot of people are worried about, the removal of Alex Bregman, how his defense is going to hold up at third base. Well, he's done a fantastic job, and him playing M&A parts just makes him look good. Especially sneaking in those Crawford boxer shots. Uh, I just think like you said, it's a match made in heaven. I think that's that's exactly the case there. So I could see the Astros exploring that option. I think it'll find mutual interest by both ball club and player. I'm sure Sapatis loves his Crawford boxes. I'm sure he loves the Mexican fan base that cheers him on every single time, every single day. So I'm sure if it would be mutual interest, would be from both.
Okay, now
Okay.
putting you on the spot, what's the number? What's the figure looks like for him if the Astros are going to do something like that? We're looking in the hundreds. You're looking at the 200.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be over in the hundreds, not 200s. I
Okay.
would say over in the hundreds, maybe. What did Bregman get again? I know.
Uh, damn, I don't have the number right from me, but
Oh yeah.
we made 40 million as what
Oh, he got
120
30.
years.
Yeah, I think Chapman got what 156. I
I
know
can possibly
151.
see
I think he
140.
got. Yeah, I'm leaning 130, 135, 140 for maybe buy out the rest of the arbitration years and then some. So maybe like a 5, 6 year, uh, even four too. So I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a great move for Houston. Um, take it away the Mexican fan base and the Hispanic fan base that this city has, very diverse. But baseball wise, I mean, he's an all star, and we've talked about this. He should have been an all star the year before. I think that was at 23. I think this would be a good guy to get
I would
to
say this.
go ahead.
I think. Well, I'm gonna go in off because we're talking about contract extension stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it's not about Isaac Perez, but it's just kind of in that area. I'd say if Ryan Gusto pitches well, as McCullers shows that he can, still pitch in the major leagues. Spencer Getty, the director he was on, it was 2 starts. He looked good.
Hmm.
If that can end like Hayden Wazansky too, if he can pitch well, I think the Astros will be okay letting Framber Valdez walk and giving Hunter Brown an extension. I think that could be a possibility just because Framber Valdez, great stuff, great pitcher, but it's just consistency with him. I think it's just being able to be the ace of the ball club, and like he's what started 3, 4 opening days for them
Hmm.
for the Astros. So he's on paper the Astros ace, but right now Hunter Brown has just been lights out. He's just been on a different level. Uh, and Framber Valdez is just still. I don't know if it's emotion or just uh, inability to
Inconsistent.
locate. Yeah, it's just him being inconsistent. I think that could kind of affect him, especially on a contract year. You would think this would be one of his better years to kind of get the bag out, but that hasn't been the case. So, and just a thought because of what they're paying Framber Valdez, I think nearly what
He's still
17 million, I
he's
think.
still on his rookie contract, if I'm not
I,
mistaken.
I know, but didn't he go through arbitration and stuff like that? So
Mhm.
isn't he getting isn't he getting paid like 15 million? So that can
Around
again,
that range, I would say.
yeah. So if they didn't want, that opens up more money for other pitchers and stuff like that, or extensions elsewhere. So that could be a possibility too.
Okay, now I'm gonna tell you this: 18 million, by the way, was arbitration for him this year.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Now give me this though. Give me the order of what the Astros could look like in extension talks with some of the players on their roster right now. At least three or five. Give me some of those.
I wouldn't say order, but it's just like
No,
guys
no,
that I think
no. I want it in order. I need it in order. What do you think?
again. I would say contract signing for Brown, I think that's top priority.
Yeah.
Because it'll get more expensive the sooner you wait. Uh, I'd say Sack Blatters, that's the one we're talking about there. I think this might surprise you, but Yanni Diaz, I think if they can get him, especially since he's been kind of, trying to play, you can kind of get him like a cheaper contract by out his arbitration years too.
Mhm.
I think that could be beneficial for the Astros. Um, I don't know, maybe after that, it's
Free
whoever
game.
they choose. Yeah,
And I'm putting you on the spot, but yeah, I'm gonna go with this real quick. Hunter Brown is now no doubt he should be the number one person that the Astros should look at a contract extension, either during or after this season. Number two, I'm going with these operators just like you. This is a guy that you can stay and your hot corner. He's still young, still has potential, still room to grow. So I would say him. Number three is going to be, for me, Spencer Arrighetti. You see the talent there. You see the swing and miss. You got the strikeout rate. Has all that stuff. He's still young. He's still maturing. He's still learning. Um, so I think the Astros can staple that into their rotation if they lock down Hunter Brown. You still got Christian Javier for so many years. You'll have Spencer Ragetti as your three, and of course you still have your arbitration years with Hayden Wisniewski too.
yeah,
So I'll go with that. And then number four, I'm gonna go with Diner just for the fact, and it's gonna surprise some people. The Astros do still have a catcher in their farm system that's top five in the farm system rankings for Houston. Is Walker Yannick. And I'm not saying Walker Yannick is better than Yiner Diaz because we don't know yet until he hits the major league level. But if Houston sees him hitting the ball really well and single A, because I think he's in Nashville right now, he comes up the farm system really, swinging the bat, hot, everything like that, then there's potentially interest that you can say, okay, well, Yiner still has his arbitration years, of course, too. But if he continues hitting in the 260 range and let's say he hits 20 home runs, 70 RBIs, like I said, I don't mind seeing Yiner being in that contract extension talk for Houston being the catcher and the future of this franchise, behind the plate. However, if he doesn't continuing to hit, continues to decrease with, of course, with the swing rate, chase rate, in the defensive part, like about his pop up time has decreased each year. You still got Walker Yannick as as backup. So as of right now, them are my top four.
yeah. And then he also got Christian Walker for 3 years. I mean, you don't know what those 3 years are gonna look like after. So Yanni Diaz could be another position. He can play first base after that too. So it's just with Yanni Diaz opens up that ability too. Again,
I will make
if he
I'll,
can.
I'll make a switch. Actually, thinking about it right now. Cam Smith at four, Yiner at five.
uh,
It sounds
I can see
crazy.
that.
It honestly does sound crazy saying Yiner Diaz as a fifth option for a contract extension. That just sounds funny out of my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I, honestly, I think the Astros could go any direction. I think whoever. The thing is, I think Isaac Perez might be an easier contract since you might see that one first. I'm sure Hunter Brown might be a little bit more difficult just because of his agent. Money negotiation. I'm sure he's gonna want to get every last penny he can too. So it's interesting to talk about. But I think this next year's off season for the Astros is gonna be pretty interesting. They have cap room, I guess you can say, right? They have
Mm-hmm.
like
It will.
so they don't go past the luxury tax, and they're gonna have free agents departing room for in the 40-man roster too. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yes, let us know in the comments. What do you think? How would you order some of these contract extensions? Because they're thinking about it right now. If Hunter Brown signs a big contract, I mean, I don't know who would be second next. I don't know if it'd be Esau Paredes. I don't know if it'll be Yiner Diaz, uh, Camp Smith. Because look at this is the trend as of right now in baseball. And we've talked about the Braves. Look at the Red Sox. They signed Christian Campbell. They signed Cedon Rafaela, Brian Bayo. So you're seeing this trend. Of course, you've seen the philosophy over there being in Atlanta, where Dana Brown was before he got the GM role with Houston.
Different owners, so that's the
Yeah,
thing.
it is different owners. Yes, I'll say that too. But when you have a mentality of we're going to go out there and we need to go get this guy, we need to give him an extension, which Dana Brown had mentioned when he got here, he wanted to make Altuve Astro for life and Bregman Astro for life. He talked about possibly getting the extension done um, with Kyle Tucker. That didn't happen. Alex Bregman didn't happen. He's only gotten Jose Altuve and he's only done Christian Javier as extensions as of right now. It'll be an interesting fun debate going into this offseason, see what the Astros are going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting what they do, who they bring in, who they let walk, and but again, once that time comes, we'll have you covered on what's new for the Astros during that time.
Yes, we talked about a good 5 minutes extension talks and possible extension talks. And we haven't even finished the series yet. Game 3, real quick. They did win 3-1. Ryan Gusto with an impressive start against the Blue Jays. 5 2/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He threw 80 pitches, 47 more strikes. You remember we talked about in our last episode how many pitches and how comfortable is Joe Espada going to allow Gusto to go in this start against the Blue Jays? And I believe Espada let him go out there and did what he did. Pitched 8 more pitches his previous 12 swing and misses. Very fastball heavy in his start. Threw 42 fastballs, topped out 95.7 miles per hour. What did you think about the outing that Gusto had and the trust, especially that Espada had given him?
Yeah, I think Gusto has looked great, and I think he didn't throw 8 more pitches. I think he threw 12 more pitches uh, than last time. I think he had a 68 against the Padres and then 80 now, so 12 more pitches. But he's looked good. I think that's what I was saying. Like in the last podcast, if Ryan Gusto continues to pitch great this season, Ronald Blanco might be the odd man out, especially since he was kind of like struggling in the beginning. But now it makes it a little bit difficult, especially Ronald Blanco. But talking about Ryan Gusto is he's pitched against some really great teams. He's pitched Padres. I mean, look at this game now right now. He pitched against the Angels, Padres, and the Blue Jays, and the Mariners as well. Those are teams that have stars on their lineup. Angels, you can say Mark Trout is still again one of the best players. Taylor Ward is really good too. You can't. I think you can talk
They
about
got good
for
young
30.
talent too.
Yeah, talk about the Padres lineup for like 30 minutes because that's just how great they are. And Toronto Blue Jays with Vladimir Guerrero, Bo Bichette, all those guys. And for a rookie, he has shown that he's not he's not gonna give in. Is what I'm looking for. He's like he's gonna go out there, do what he's got to do, give the Astros great innings, great pitches, and there's been so, there's been some outings where he's had less than 10 pitches per inning too. So he's attacking the strike zone, getting these pitchers to they're getting these hitters to get out themselves, and he's been phenomenal. I think again, if he can continue this trend this season, I think the Astros might have gotten themselves a good one there in Ryan Gusto. Yeah,
I will say this: I mean, the performance department in Houston, the development has always been a backbone for this organization, and it continues to show with guys like Arrighetti, guys like Blanco. I mean, we
Brown.
could go on and on. Javier, remember, and all these teams. Now you got Gusto, who's pitching really well. You got Blue Ball as well, with Sugarland pitching well down there in Triple A. Logan Van Wy has looked good. I mean, we can go on and on with all the pitchers that the Astros have done really well developing to the guys that they are today. And like you said, Gusto has done that. He has not been afraid to run away of the moment of going against guys like Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, Vladimir Guerrero. Them are all stars, and even you can even say MVPs. And he's
Yeah.
going out
Well,
there pounding the zone and figuring them out to find a way where their weakness is and attack that weakness as much as possible.
yeah. In his first inning against those three guys, it was Tatis, Araz, Machado, 7 pitch inning,
Yeah,
and he had an 8 pitch inning against the Blue Jays too. I forgot exactly who was hitting, but it's just he's been tough as nails, honestly.
yeah. I mean, he's looked really good. Of course, this is the first part of the season. If he continues to be on this roster come the second half of the season, how is he going to adjust? He's going to play
Yeah.
the Angels a little bit more times. He's going to play the Mariners a couple more times. You know, Athletics, Rangers. How will he adjust? That's going to be the question mark when we get closer
Fatigue too,
to seeing him.
stamina. It's an
Fatigue and stamina is another good
I'm
one because Ronel Blanco dealt with that last season.
Yeah, I'm sure if he is pitching in the second half of the season, it'll probably be, the most innings he's thrown too. So it's major league innings. I know a lot of people have thrown, a lot in the minor leagues, but that's a little different. Major league hitters can get you at any time, any pitch, right? They're just that great. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out for him.
Most definitely, but he's been doing an absolutely fabulous job in each of his starts, improving on the bump. And offensively, obviously the Astros only scored 3 runs, but Christian Walker
Oh,
solo home run. Oh, go ahead.
can I say something real quick? Yeah, I just want to go back to Gusto real quick. The most innings he's thrown in his career is 148 innings, and that was last year in AAA.
So there could be a possibility that he sees more innings
Yeah,
the rest of this season,
yeah.
just depending on what happens. Like I said, injuries do happen in this league. Just have to continue to monitor what the severity of Arrighetti, of Garcia, how Javier comes back, how France comes back. So he still has a
Yeah.
good chance of passing on them, at least career wise numbers in innings pitch. Going back to Christian Walker, solo home run to the Crawford boxes. I know that felt good for him to hit one out. Like you had mentioned, Angel, he is clicking in all cylinders. He was 5 for 5 from going from Tuesday into Wednesday's game. Uh, Zach DeZenzo, bloop RBI single, has looked really well. He did kind of messed up his thumb on Monday. He couldn't have played Tuesday because it just was sore, I'm guessing. Wednesday, he came back and did a really good job. Wearing 2 slide mitts, if you didn't see that. That's very rare for a baseball player to do now.
I didn't. I didn't see it.
Yes, 2 slide mitts. And Jordan Alvarez with a 399-foot RBI sac fly. And that one was almost a grand slam against Bowden Francis.
Mm.
So I'm telling you, the big man is just inches, centimeters, feet, kilometers, whatever you want to call your measurement, away from, I would say, clicking.
What do you think of the Jordan Alvarez at second and Isaac Paredes at third? Like,
It's it's not bad as of right now. Like I had mentioned, if Jordan could get going, the Astros already have seen what Isak has done in the 2 spot. And personally, in my opinion, I think he's a good 2 hole hitter because he works the counts. He's going to put up quality at bats, meaning six pitches or more. Either it happens. It's either a strikeout or a walk. He puts the ball in play as well. He can hit for power, hit it down the line in the gaps, extra base hits. So I really personally, to me, I do like Paredes in that second spot because Alvarez has shown that he has the power, he has the contact, he can produce in runners in scoring position. But as of right now, he's just up to a slow start. So I think for me, when Alvarez continues gets this groove of things get going, I think they will go back to their natural spots in the betting order, just like I had mentioned with Christian Walker and Yonder Diaz.
okay, yeah, I could see that.
Your thoughts so far?
I mean, that's what I've been preaching before the season started of having Jordan
Alvarez
Alvarez
in the
at
second.
second. So, I mean, I don't mind it. I think it gives the Astros the best chance to win just because it's shown. Like, it's worked so far. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think why fix what's broken. So if it continues to work, I mean, might as well leave it as is. But again, I agree with you. I think once Ryan Alvarez can, gets it going, so is Christian Walker, they will be back to, what Joe's father had in the beginning of the season.
I think for me, two and three. Just like I said with Smith and Myers, because of course you saw the experiment with Myers being in the 5 spot didn't go well. He was over on that game. I like Myers and Smith in that bottom part of the order, and I do
especially.
like Paredes and Walker. And like I said, you could flip flop either one of them. They're really good in that 2 and 3 spot.
Yeah, I think especially if Cam Smith and uh Jake Myers gets on, you know, after that, Jose Altuve is going to be looking to bring him in with one swing of the bat, so he's going to be swinging at everything. But if he can't bring him in, or he's like wildly swinging at the plate, Stock Fighter just kind of gives him that, I mean, kind of compliments that because he's going to give him a great at bat. He's going to be pushing the buttons to kind of set up for Jordan Alvarez too. So I can kind of see that as well.
Yeah. Since we're on offensive production and numbers, let's go to our overall thoughts of this series. And we'll start off with the middle of the order producing. If we've talked about, you've seen one, two, three, you've seen the bottom part of the order, but we have yet to see the meat of the lineup get these runners scored when it comes to runners in scoring position. Of course, when you go look at the runners in scoring position in these games, it was like 3 for 10, 1 for 8, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the games. But 4 through 6 in this series did a really fantastic job. Jeremy Pena, like I had mentioned, the 4 spot, it's usually for a power hitter. But I believe Pena is substituting his speed for the power. And of course, he does get some good contact on the barrel percentage of that baseball. Has done a really good job. 5 for 11 with an RBI in this series. I want to say, too, his 14-game hitting streak is still alive, getting a hit in each series. Christian Walker, getting that day off was very important for him, I will say. Clearing the mind, just giving him break, focus, look at some of the stuff on the iPad if he has to, go to the drawer, see what you got to figure out. And like I said, it did a really good job giving him that off to focus for Tuesday and Wednesday. 7 double. Yanni Diaz, Angel, really good. 4 for 12. A double and an RBI. You combine those three guys, you get a 14 for 30, which is a 467 batting average. You get 4 extra base hits where the Astros desperately need for this middle part of the order, and you get 4 RBIs. You got a home run, a double, and a triple. Well, you got 2 doubles actually. That's what this meat under needs to do. They could get base hits, you get extra base hits, bring in the runs. That's going to help the offense, and that's just going to help the pitching staff even build a comfortable lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is what the Astros organization have been waiting for. Like, what do they have in Diaz? What do they have in Walker and Pena? I think this they just showed a big glimpse of what this offense can do.
Yeah, and honestly, it should be Walker Diaz Pena. However, like I mentioned, Pena in the 4 spot, really good. Walker and Diaz kind of getting their stuff going. Just want to mention too, Diaz last 7 games, 280, slugging 40. Does have 4 strikeouts, but hey, you start to make some contact on the ball, and I think it's very important for a guy, especially like Diaz, who hit over 300 last year, to get going for this lineup. So I had mentioned with Christian Walker, just to finish this out with him, is he officially back? Question mark.
I would I wouldn't say 2 games proves him officially back, but I think it's shown great promise. If we can continue doing that for like 2, 3 more games a week, then I would okay. Then I think the Astros found Christian Walker has figured out the play, but it I'd say 2 or 3 games could start to could be the difference between from a bad season or a great season, right? But they could turn it around. But I don't think he's officially back yet. I do want to see a little bit more production from him and to be able to say that.
Most definitely, I agree with you on that. Zach DeZenzo now. This is an interesting one. Monday, 2 for 3, double and RBI. Wednesday, 3 for 4, another RBI. 2 RBIs in this series for him. A guy that's not getting a lot of playing time because of guys like Altuve in left field or Alvarez in left field. Jake Myers in center. Cam Smith in right. Or Chas McCormick in right or center. Do the Astros need to continue giving DeZenzo more at bats and have him start some games here and there? Because he smashed in spring training. And of course, he hasn't had consistent at bats in this season so far. Do you think Houston needs to explore trying to find some ways to give this prospect more at bats to propel this lineup even further.
I think it's like DeSanto's forcing himself into the lineup. Honestly, he's just kind of showing, just taking advantage of every opportunity he gets. It's hard though because, like you said, you have Altuve, Jake Myers, and Cam Smith out there. The fact that Jake Myers is hitting pretty good, it makes it even harder for Zach DeSanto to see playing time. I think that was, uh, you know, I think that's where his opening was, but Jake Myers has been closing that opening just because he's going to take great defense, but the bat is coming around. Cam Smith is putting up some great at bats, but he's showing he can play the position well too. So I think that's kind of hurting him as well. But if Zach continues to hit in it when his name is called, then he's gonna just have to force the Astros' hands and finding and being creative in ways to kind of get them in there. Like if that means putting Jose Altuve back at second a little bit more games, so Zach Zenzo can fit in that outfield spot. I think that just might do it. But again, Brendan Rodgers has been playing pretty good too as well. So it's hard. I think Joe Spada's gonna have to be creative and get these guys some at bats, but I think Zach Zenzo's making a case for himself.
I'll even add on to this. Remember, I just mentioned Rome's article in the Athletic talking about possibility of getting some Smith in center field. That opens, in my opinion, that spot for DeZenzo to take over right field if Cam Smith takes over center field.
Yeah, but again,
Not a bad idea.
Jake, sorry, you kind of cut off a little bit.
Not a bad idea. I want to say.
No, yeah, absolutely. But I think it's kind of hard to do that with because again, yes, he's playing right field well, but the range that Jake Myers covers in center field is just you know not everybody can do that. So I think Jake Myers' defense kind of keeps him out there center field a lot more. But the fact that he's hitting is just kind of secures his spot. I think if Jake Myers wasn't hitting, then I would say, yeah, I mean, explore that possibility. I think you'll give up a few inches of defense for the hot bat in this case, right? So I think it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how Joe Espada plays this, but I think Texas Enzo going 2 for 3 and 3 for 4 kind of makes them force their hand a little bit and kind of just being creative, like I said, being creative with the lineup, finding ways to get these guys playing time.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you said it perfectly. Zenzo is forcing himself into this lineup, and there's a great possibility that he could be seeing some more playing time if he continues to swing the bat. Moving real quick to the bullpen, then we'll get to starting pitching. Brian King, I believe he has possibly solidified himself in that seventh spot, meaning that seventh inning role. Tuesday, he only threw an inning, and then he only needed one pitch, not even an inning and a third
Mhm.
of an inning. Sorry about that. He only threw one pitch. Wednesday, he goes an inning and a third.
But in that third of an inning, we just needed one pitch again.
Exactly. Is he the guy that Spada is feeling a little bit more comfortable putting in that seven spot role, giving the ball to Brian Abreu, and then giving the ball to Josh Hader?
Absolutely. I think the reason why the Astros were comfortable with trading away Ryan Pesci because they had Brian Abreu and Taylor Scott to fill in that gap, but now they're fighting another great guy that they can trust, and that's Brian King. I think that he's done enough to not just come in lefty matches, but he's shown that he can pitch to right-handers and left-handers to get consistent outs. And if he can continue that, and Taylor Scott continues to struggle, I think he might just jump that rotation spot and be the seventh guy, like the seventh inning guy too. And he's done just enough. Again, Brian King, yes, he's been in the league a little longer, like last year as well. Teams are still having scouting reports on him, so they know what this guy. But if he can continue to see hitters and be lights out when he comes out the pen, I think it kind of replaces not Taylor Scott, but yes, he's struggling, but it's no worry because they have Brian King. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, not to mention too, Forrest Willie's coming back. You got Caleb Port on
He
the
looked good
horizon
too.
too. So, yeah, you're getting a lot of reinforcements coming soon, at least for a right-handed reliever. Because as of right now, they're only depending on Taylor Scott, Logan Van Wy, and Brian Abreu. So reinforcements coming. I think if anything, maybe Logan Van Wy might be the odd man out when Ort comes. We'll talk about that in just a second. Starting pitching real quick, just to give them their flowers. Did a fabulous job. Combined stats: 19 and a third, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 18 strikeouts combined for a 0.93 ERA in this series. And a little fun stat of the night for y'all. The Astros have allowed just 2 hits in consecutive games, which marks just the 5th time they've done this in their franchise history per Elias. The last time the Astros allowed 2 or fewer hits in consecutive games came in a 3 game streak from September 23rd to the 25th of 1986. Of course, the 1986 Astros. I don't think a lot of fans would like to reminisce them days, at least in the NLCS. Anyway, the starting pitchers in those games were franchise greats in Ben DeShay, who had a 2 hit shutout, Nolan Ryan, the Ryan Express, 1 hit in 8 innings, and the great Mike Scott, whose split finger was unhittable, or splitter, on September 25th with the fabulous against the San Francisco Giants. Just a little bit of
Talk
history
about
of the night for y'all.
talk about that rotation. Jim just saves on and Ryan, Mike Scott. Wow,
Insane.
absolute. Well, speaking of pitching, let's talk about this pitching preview. And I think the Astros have been in many low scoring games, and that's just because the theme of I think every pitching preview this week is pitching matchups, pitching duels, and that's just the same case here this week again. Friday's game is a 6:40 start time. Hayden Wazensky versus Seth Lugo. Wazensky's 1-1 with a 3.91 ERA. Finally has that ERA back in the threes. He's been pretty great lately. Versus San Diego, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Uh, this time around, in his last outing, before the San Diego outing, he threw a lot more sweepers than fastballs. He changed it up on them. He threw more fastballs than sweepers. He threw 35 fastballs, 10 sinkers, 25 sweepers, 9 curveballs, and 5 changeups and 1 cut. He's done a great job of limiting runners on base, like limiting traffic, and I think that's been really crucial. Yes, he's allowed 6 hits, but being able to get out the innings there, or like, and that's a good case because he's leaving out the walk. So I'm sorry, Hayden Wazensky has pitched 23 innings, pitched total, 23 innings. Out of those 23 innings, he's only had two-thirds of an inning with runners on first and second, one total inning with a runner on second, a third of an inning with runners on second and third, a third of an inning with only a runner on third, and two innings and a third with runners in scoring position. So out of 23 innings, only 2 1/3 with runners in scoring position. That just shows that he's been able to either, if it's a guy gets a single, being able to get out the inning or get a double play needed to, get out of there. So he's done a really good job of limiting traffic.
Wouldn't that be with runners in scoring position though? Runners on third, runner on second, and
Yeah,
third.
yeah, but it's just a breakdown. So
Oh,
it's just
okay.
like adding those up. Yeah. Mhm. So I think combined it would be the second, like all of them combined would be runners in scoring position because they're all with third.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah. Mhm. But Seth Lugo stands on the other side. He has a 1-3 record, so not a great record, but it's 3.9. He has a 3.90 ERA. His last outing versus Detroit, he pitched 6.2 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. He was All-Star last year, so he's done pretty good. Get a load of this. He has a 10 pitch repertoire. 10 different pitches. Like, I'm not kidding. I had to do a double check when I went to go look up this stats. I was like, there's
There's
no
no
way.
way, dude. There's just no way. 10 pitches is
But
gosh.
according to StatCast, he's thrown and consistently, not like I know there's times where like pitchers throw 1 pitch and it's now this is he's comfortable throwing all 10 pitches at any time, any place, right? He throws a fastball, a curveball, a sinker, a cutter, a slurve, a changeup, a split finger, a slider. Now get this, a slow curveball, which and then a sweeper.
How the hell do you cast that as
Maybe
a pitch?
that's what again. I'm just going by what baseball someone said. They call it a slow curveball, but I'm thinking more of like an ephus type of style
I was gonna
pitch.
say,
But
might as well just call it fist at this point.
yeah, but with all those pitches, Lugo has a 97. He's ranked the 97th percentile in breaking ball run value. Like I said, he's not afraid to throw any of those pitches at any count. Obviously, he's going to lean more of fastball, curveball, but to get hitters off balance, he will throw any pitch, and he's not afraid to throw it to lefties or right-handers too. So he's comfortable throwing it anything. So you're literally going to get the kitchen sink with Cesc Lugo on the mound.
I'll say for both these pitchers, you're gonna have off speed matchups in every
Yeah.
at bat
Yeah, this is both guys have tremendous movement on their off-speed pitch and a lot of spin right there. So make it tough for hitters, honestly. But Saturday's matchup is a 6-10 matchup with Framber Valdez and Michael Walker. Valdez one and two record, 4.50 ERA versus San Diego again, 16 pitch, 2 runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Not a typical Framber Valdez start. 2 strikeouts is very not Framber Valdez like, and I mean, and I was a whole. I'm gonna go touch on that because we talked about sinker movement and stuff like that. We talked about that past 2 podcasts ago. So let's go with his pitch breakdown. He threw 87 pitches. Uh, against San Diego. 49 sinkers out of 87, 16 curveballs, 15 changeups, 7 sliders. A year ago, what made him so great was that he had a 99 breaking ball value a year ago with because that stellar curveball and that slider. This year, he's at 48 percentile right now. So just to show that his breaking ball, just like his sinker, also has not been as effective as it was last year. So the Astros just waiting for him to get going. Now, Michael Walker, again, another great pitcher who's kind of struggling, 0-3 with a 4.15 ERA. Against Detroit, though, he had a quality start, 7 hits, 2 runs, 0 walks, 5 strikeouts, 6 pitch mix. So I guess Astros are thankful for that. It's not 10 pitches, right? 6 pitch mix, fastball, changeup, cutter, sinker, curveball, and slider. He's gonna lean more with that fastball, changeup mix, but kind of throw hitters off with the rest of his pitches. Uh, his best pitch right now is the changeup with a 31% whiff rate and his 15.4 put away pitch. Now, I'll tell you this Michael Walker, Framber Valdez, both great pitchers, both struggling pitchers. So I think it's going to be the guy who limits the mistakes the most will have the advantage of this one, I would say.
Hot take. Framber Valdez goes 7 innings in this game.
But another
It's a
quality
great
start then
lineup.
back to back.
It's a quality start happening for him. This time he gets to 7 innings, and I think he's going to get that ball going and a team that score runs.
Okay. Well, if I guess history comes to hold, it comes true. This season for Framber Valdez has been a great start and also a good start. A great start, also a good start. I mean, I would say this is a quality start. So I mean, it wasn't a pretty quality start, but it was, 16 2 and run. So I guess I wouldn't put the money on front row this until he shows different because I guess this was going to be the bad start. But again, that's your hot take. I mean, and I can see it. I mean, Framber Valdez has the stuff to be a lights out pitcher. It's just finding it. I think it's always hard to rule against Valdez just because of the movement, his pitches, the stuff. But he just needs to find it. And I don't know if he said something because it was kind of like, did you? Am I good?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Okay, just making sure. All right, and then Sunday is a manatee, a 110 start time. Hunter Brown versus Chris Bubik, and you might be wondering who's Chris Bubik, but trust me, this is going to be the game you want to see. It's going to be a pitcher's duel right here. Brown 3-1 with a 1.16 ERA. I'm not going to say against Toronto. Or I guess I'll say just in case you shut up late, but Lorenzo did a really good job of covering Hunter Brown. Whereas Toronto, he had 2 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. Get this. Oh, the last calendar year, so since April 23rd, right? So 2014. Hunter Brown has been one of the best pitchers in the majors, ranking second in ERA in that time frame. The only pitcher who's in front of him is Paul Skeens with a 2.14 ERA. Again, Hunter Brown is second with 2.50, and then third Tariq Schoolball with 2.54. This is Tariq Schoolball, a person who won the Cy Young last year. So Hunter Brown being in that elite category again, this is a calendar year. He's been pretty. This just shows how dominant he's been. Like competing with a pitcher who won a triple crown and a pitcher who throws 100 mile per hour consistently. Hunter Brown's right in the middle of him. Pretty phenomenal stuff. He'll be
Yeah,
going
real
against.
quick.
Oh, go ahead. Go
The
ahead.
Astros, like I said, the Astros need to find a way to give him an extension. Going against players like that, man, it's going to be tough to go down the line if they're going to want to try to do something. They got to figure it out now or this offseason to give him the back. I would say.
Absolutely. But Chris Bubik has been pretty phenomenal in his own right. 2-1 record with a 1.45 ERA versus Colorado. 4 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 6 strikeouts, 5 pitch mix. He throws with his fastball, sweeper, changeup, slider, and sinker. So a lot of off-speed pitches as well. He'll lean more with to the fastball, sweeper mix up. He will throw a changeup at any time too, slider, sinker as well. His slider, surprising, although he goes fastball sweeper, his slider's been one of his best pitches, 35% point 5 whiff rate, and a 57.1 put away pitch. So about 50% of the time he's trying to put you away with that slider, and 50%, 57% of times it works. He's been so phenomenal that he ranks the 96th percentile in pitching run value and 93rd percentile in breaking ball run value as well. So really good off speed pitches for him.
Yeah, this series is going to be very. It could be either an offensive breakout for both teams because, like I mentioned, both teams are struggling to score runs and they're averaging about 3 to 4 runs a game, or it can be a low scoring game in each games of this series. And it sucks to say that because you would want a high scoring game, some type of offense. And I know for most fans, they would like to see the home run ball, the RBI production, than a pitching matchup. Which I mean, there are some fans out there that like the pitching matchups and the pitchers duel in each of the series. But yeah, this could either be, like I said, a low scoring game in all three games because knowing the offenses, they're right now struggling for both teams, or they can explode either in 2 games, 3 games, 1 game. Just depends. So I think the Astros got to take advantage against a team that's struggling as of right now in the Royals because honestly, this is a potentially team to win that Central at least or make it into the postseason with all the talent that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Saturday's game has the best chance to be like what the Astros can explode for runs. But again, the Astros hit pretty good pitchers in Chris Bassett and Francis Bowden. So if they can hit those pitchers, I'm sure they can tag Seth Lugo and Chris Bubik as well. So it'll be interesting to see what occurs there.
And you made a great point in the beginning of the show too, real quick. Doubleheader just today, Thursday, April 24th, if you're listening to this in the morning, yesterday, doubleheader against the Rockies. So there could be a chance if the Astros get to that first starter. I mean, the bullpen, it's going to be difficult for them, and it might be a pitcher's position player pitching on the mound.
Yeah. Again, it all depends on an offense. Like it'll be a win for the Royals if Seth Lugo goes 7, 8 innings pitches because it saves
Agree.
that bullpen a little bit. So if you're the Astros, I think you're aggressive on Seth Lugo. I know he can throw again, like I said, 10 pitches, right? But
Insane.
if if you can take advantage of those mistakes, because I'm the reason he's winning 3 point because he's made some mistakes, right? So if you can take advantage of those and put up runs early, then you kind of leave the Royals on their back for a little bit. Kind of pivoting might be, or they might want to throw Seth Lugo as much as possible just to save that. So just take advantage of that. But I guess go ahead. Did you want to say something?
Never mind. Just go ahead.
Okay. I guess the last segment of the day, Astros injury updates. Let's start with Lance McCullers. I think this is the guy who's kind of close to coming back. McCullers threw 33 pitches in the bullpen Tuesday and could make another rehab start this week in a double A. I think we'll know more Friday once the media talks to Joe Espada there. Caleb Orr made one rehab appearance in AAA Wednesday night. He threw 1 innings pitch, allowed 1 hit, 13 pitches, 10 strikes, or will more likely join the club this series against Kansas City. So more bullpen help is on the way for the Astros. And lastly, Sean Dubin. This is a guy we talked about, another freak accident, right? So I don't know what it is with pitches, in the outfield, whether it's batting practice, but he kind of twisted his ankle there. But this is per Brian McTaggart. Sean Dubin just threw a bullpen and said his ankle is fine. He said he will pitch a rehab start this week in Corpus Christi. So that's, again, more reinforcements on the way for the Astros.
Yeah, most
Anything to say?
definitely. I don't know. You want to finish it because my connection is bad back here.
Yeah, I can go ahead. So that pretty sums up the end of our show. We want to thank you for staying to with us. I know it was a long one. It's 8 o'clock. Some of y'all go to work. I know it's probably, some of you are doing Thirsty Thursday. Some of you are trying to get ready for bed for work tomorrow. So whatever you're doing, appreciate the support. Appreciate you standing with us, hearing us. I think we had a really great crowd tonight. So appreciate everything. And, you know, we'll be on Sun we'll be live again on Sunday. So you have anything last words or am I good to go to cut it out?
I mean, you can, but I mean, my connection's bad over here. So just look at the
All
social
right,
media stuff, podcast stuff.
appreciate it. Yeah. So look above our heads, we are there. Thank you and peace.